We were founded in Bath by Sir Ted Happold in 1976, and since then we've grown to 30 offices worldwide. On the West Coast we have 70 staff, and we do structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, facades, lighting, and sustainability consulting. And we're always trying to be at the forefront of low energy design, and as Ted's vision was always to touch the earth lightly, so we always try to do that in all of our project work. This slide shows some of what we think are our greatest achievements. I'll just point out a couple. In 2003, we designed the Genzyme headquarters in Cambridge. It was the first LEED Platinum headquarters building. In 2011, we got the third Living Building Challenge project certification. There are still currently only 3 certified. It is a challenge. I'll be talking a little bit more about that rating system later in the presentation. And then finally, I'll just touch on the London 2012 Olympics. We were involved in the master planning and building a lot of the structures, which contributed to the greenest Olympics in history. So to dive right in, to have a truly sustainable development, you really need to consider 3 components. Those are economy, ecology, and equity. So first, the project must be financially viable. You need to look at first costs, payback periods, life cycle costs. If it's not financially viable, there's no project. The second is the ecological or environmental component. That tends to look at carbon, energy, water, and waste. And finally, social equity component, that prioritizes comfort, health, and well-being of occupants. As Americans, we spend actually 90% of our time indoors, so it's very important that our buildings take good care of us while we're in them. So at the heart of these 3 pillars is a truly sustainable development. It'll be well cared for and cherished by its users. So this slide shows the sustainability spectrum. We've talked a little bit already about LEED and the Living Building Challenge. So on the left is high performance buildings, which do less harm than standard or code compliant buildings. And then in the middle we have living buildings which do no harm. So they basically offset their carbon footprint of the construction and operations. And then the future of the industry is regenerative buildings, which actually heal the environment and its occupants and give back. So I'm going to use the Brown School to talk about some of the issues I want to cover today. We're currently working on the Brown School of Social Work and Public Health at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, with more Rubel Udell architects and planners. So it's a new construction and renovation project to expand their teaching facilities to 100,000 square feet. And the core values of the Brown School are shown here. So obviously, environmentally and socially responsible project is key for this client. So the project will include fully integrated sustainable design, principles and strategies while striving for LEED Gold. And what we're recommending is using the Living Building Challenge, which is shown here as an overlay on top of the LEED rating system, because social equity is a component in this rating system. So we're going to be coming up with a tailored selection of Living Building Challenge imperatives for the project. And in particular, we'll be paying attention to health, materials, equity, and beauty. So on the following slides, I'm just going to go briefly through some of the strategies that we're looking at to give you a sense of the Living Building Challenge. So our design solution is going to include, this is the current site conditions right now, the design is going to include food production to the south of the site. So this garden will foster community and allow for educational and research opportunities. And then the food that's produced there will be served in the building's new cafe. On water, here is a sample water budget that we did for another project we will be generating for Brown School. The bar graphs demonstrate the yields, such as cooling tower blowdown, gray water collection, or rainwater collection. And then the area graphs demonstrate the demands, such as toilet flushing, irrigation, cooling tower makeup. So what this tool allows us to do is see where the opportunities are to significantly reduce the amount of potable water used in a building. So when approaching a project at whatever scale, from building to master planning scale, first we look at passive strategies, then active, then renewable, then demonstration. Passively designed buildings address local climate and lower demands of heating, cooling, and lighting loads. As a result, the energy load is significantly reduced over a typical benchmark project. So examples of these strategies were touched on earlier, but orientation and massing, building shading, natural ventilation, thermal mass, and natural daylighting. Then we look at efficient active strategies based on the program type, the building size, and the climate and user needs. Strategies include geothermal heat pumps, enthalpy wheels, cogeneration, radiant flooring, underfloor air distribution, centralized energy generation. And then finally, we'll look at renewable strategies, again, just based on what's available on the site, if it's sun or wind. So solar thermal for generating hot water, such as Richard has at his house, or for electric generation, PVs, which are pictured here, are also wind turbines. And demonstration strategies are really meant to just demonstrate a client's commitment. So this could be something like an interactive kinetic sculpture that generates some energy as people engage with it. So we get into health. The Brown School is going to be integrating a bio wall in its main lobby space. As Steve said, there's a NASA study that shows particular plants are successful at removing pollutants from the air. So it's both beautiful and functional. The bio wall acts as a biofilter, and it's actively pulling air through the system and filtering out VOCs and carbon dioxide as it passes through the wall and the vegetation, and then it returns even cleaner air to the occupied space. Another strategy that we're considering is a heliostat, and that's what's pictured here at the Genzyme headquarters. So it's a device that uses mirrors, and it captures sunlight and it brings it deeper into the space. So it's bringing natural light and beauty into the space. Quickly on materials. This is the red list on the right. So if you are pursuing the Living Building Challenge, this is a list that you're not able to use on your project. PVC is on here. PVC pipes are really prevalent in our buildings. Mercury is on here. Mercury is also very prevalent in our light bulbs. Formaldehyde is on here. That's often in composite wood. So the Brown School design and construction team is going to work closely together just to see, to get as far as we can with eliminating these materials from the project. Washington University actually has one of the 3 Living Building Challenge certified projects, the Tyson Living Learning Center. So we'll be able to use resources and research that they've already done there for the new Brown School. Also, we'll be using local materials, and then going above and beyond LEED and the Living Building Challenge, are also interested in creating stories, things like socially sourced materials. So maybe there's some opportunity for some job creation in third world countries, and kind of making some special pieces throughout the project. Touching on equity, accessibility, transparency, and inclusiveness are primary goals for the Brown School. So the design intent is that no user of the building will feel like a second-class citizen. The final Living Building Challenge petal is beauty. So we've added winter gardens to the program to act as spaces to connect with nature and the outdoors, potentially to activate and connect building users, or maybe another winter garden could be more about retreat and revival. They're definitely an active group, and so they all want to be able to do yoga in their building. The building design program and building signage will also be used to encourage activity, interconnection, and community in the building. So this will all help meet the mission and vision of the Brown School for Social Work. I just wanted to take a quick step back, and here's a graphic that I really appreciate because it outlines the steps teams need to take during design, but then also, more importantly, illustrates additional measures taken during occupancy. So those include post-occupancy evaluation and measurement and verification. As you can see, these two final steps are really critical to making sure that projects stay on target to reduce their carbon footprint. They can be well designed, but then they can start to destroy if you don't keep tracking. So at the Brown School, Buro Happold will also be involved in the development and implementation of a measurement and verification plan. Measurement and verification is analysis of energy performance to confirm energy efficient measures are performing as intended. It's a tool which helps identify where energy is being wasted, for example, if there's lights being on left overnight. So this allows staff to take corrective action and save considerable energy over the life of the building. And as Steve showed you, he has this building dashboard in his homes. It's also something that we recommend because it gives you real-time consumption information on energy and water in your building, and it really makes you aware of what you're using and then much more likely to conserve. So it transforms passive consumers into active managers of resources and really connects the building with its occupants. So often we're very disconnected. As Brown School is still in its early design phases, the post-occupancy evaluation on that project is a few years out. However, we're currently engaged in POE on Morphosis Architect Studio, which we did the MEP and lighting design for here in Culver City. Here it's pictured here. It's a great space to work in. So the POE builds on a growing base of studies that we've been performing. The primary purpose is to see how the building is performing and understand what measures can be undertaken to further optimize its performance. An important piece of the evaluation is to determine how comfortable the space is and assessing the design impact on staff behavior and satisfaction. POE is really central to improving the performance of low and zero carbon buildings, and without it, the sustainability of occupied buildings can only be assumed. So that's what I have for now. Happy to answer some more questions later. Thank you.